Welcome, survivors, to the world's first Resident Evil Tierspective. I'm your host, SoundCloud Sadboy, and today we're diving headfirst into this iconic world of survival horror. Whether you're a seasoned STARS member or a newcomer to Raccoon City, you're in for a treat. Now you may be asking, Sadboy, what's a Tierspective? Well, that, my friends, is a retrospective analysis of each game as well as a tier list. Starting at the bottom of the list to the top, I'll be ranking and reviewing each Resident Evil game I've played. Through this tierspective analysis, we can reflect on how the Resident Evil series has evolved over time, from its roots in survival horror to its most recent hybridized approach. The Resident Evil series, also known as Biohazard in Japan, was conceived by Shinji Mikami and developed by Capcom. It originated from Mikami's desire to create a horror game that would invoke a sense of fear and tension. The inspiration drew from classic horror films including George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead and the Italian horror film Zombie 2. For this tierspective, I will be discussing things such as gameplay, story, and overall impact. Now, before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And for all you diehard fans out there, drop your favorite Resident Evil game in the comments. For the tier list part of the video, the tiers are as follows: C, B, A, S, and that coveted S+. Just for some extra context, all the games on this list that I have played are all available on Steam, and the opinions in this video are my own, and you are allowed to disagree with them, but let's keep things civil in the comments, please. And without further ado, will your favorite entry make the cut, or will it face the horrors of the lower ranks? Grab your herbs and let's get into it. Let's kick things off with the lowest tier, C tier. Starting us off at the very bottom of the list, we have Resident Evil 0. Resident Evil 0, set before the mansion incident in the Resident Evil series, follows Rebecca Chambers and Billy Cohen, unlikely partners on a nightmarish train ride. The duo faces mutated horrors created by the nefarious Umbrella Corporation. As they uncover the truth, they confront a traitorous colleague and a monstrous leech-based experiment gone awry. Navigating through perilous locations like the Ecliptic Express and an underground facility, Rebecca and Billy forge an uneasy alliance to survive the biohazard outbreak. The game unveils the origins of the T-virus and sets the stage for the franchise's iconic struggle against bioterrorism and biological nightmares. Resident Evil 0 sits at the bottom of C tier for several notable reasons. The decision to craft a prequel narrative, while potentially promising, resulted in a convoluted and messy story. The addition of the backstory for Rebecca was a commendable effort, shedding light on her journey to the Spencer Mansion. However, the same cannot be said for Billy, who emerges as one-dimensional and forgettable. The lack of integration of Billy into future installments also leaves his character arc feeling disconnected and underdeveloped. Moreover, the gameplay experiences on PC exacerbated the flaws. The clunky controls, while perhaps more forgivable in the context of the game's original release, felt particularly cumbersome on PC. The mechanics of switching between characters, a key element of the game, became more frustrating, disrupting the flow of the narrative. The separation of inventories, an intrinsic part of the game's design, posed a greater challenge than I feel it should have, leading to instances of forced backtracking, which drew the game out even more. As I embarked on this prequel journey, the promise of exploring the origins of the Resident Evil universe sounded exciting, but was overshadowed by the execution's shortcomings. Resident Evil 0 stands as a testament to the complexities of crafting a compelling prequel while maintaining a seamless and enjoyable gameplay experience. Unfortunately, these factors contribute to its placement in the C tier, lacking the polish and cohesiveness found in other entries in the series. Alright, and next up on our tier list we have the second lowest game at the C tier, Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 6 follows a global bioterrorist attack with the C-virus, narrated through series veterans Chris Redfield, Leon S. Kennedy, and Ada Wong, as well as a newcomer, Jake Muller. Chris battles personal demons, Leon uncovers a political conspiracy, and Jake, the son of Albert Wesker, discovers his immunity to the virus. Ada Wong, a mysterious figure, weaves through the narrative, revealing connections to the shadowy Neo-Umbrella organization. As the characters traverse through diverse locations, they confront mutated horrors and unravel the schemes of mastermind Carla Radamez. While introducing new gameplay elements, the game's departure from survival horror and convoluted narrative have led to a mixed reception within the Resident Evil series. And for that reason, Resident Evil 6 finds itself in the middle of C tier, and while it had potential to be a standout entry, various missteps resulted in a less than stellar experience. One glaring issue was the repetitive nature of the storytelling. To grasp the complete narrative, players were forced to endure the same sections multiple times through 4 distinct campaigns. This narrative structure, while innovative in theory, became a source of frustration, transforming what should have been an engaging exploration of the plot into a tedious exercise. Yet, Resident Evil 6 struggled to find its identity, leaning heavily into action at the expense of the survival horror essence fans have come to love. The explosive set pieces and heightened action, while occasionally entertaining, reached levels of excess that bordered on distracting. For a series renowned for its atmospheric tension, this departure felt like a departure from core Resident Evil. On a positive note, the controls on PC were basic but effective, offering a smooth gameplay experience. The variety of weapons across the campaigns added a touch of the classic Resident Evil joy of experimentation. However, despite these redeeming features, Resident Evil 6 left a lingering disappointment. By the end of the final campaign, the desire to move forward to the next installment was driven more by a sense of completion rather than genuine satisfaction. The heavy reliance on action, coupled with repetitive narrative structure, left an unfavorable aftertaste, making Resident Evil 6 a forgettable chapter in the series.
Yeah, I'm good.
And last but not least, at the top of our C tier, Resident Evil Revelations. Resident Evil Revelations follows Jill Valentine as she investigates the mysterious disappearance of Chris Redfield on the Queen Zenobia cruise ship. Encountering the T-Abyss virus and the bioorganic horrors, Jill navigates the ship's eerie corridors with her partner, Parker Luciani. The story reveals the involvement of the bioterrorism group Veltro and the manipulative actions of Morgan Lansdale. Chris, on a snowy mountain, uncovers Veltro's connection to the T-Abyss virus. The narrative weaves suspense, political intrigue, and bioethical dilemmas, contributing to the game's atmospheric survival horror. Securing our final and top spot at the C tier, Resident Evil Revelations is a game that balances intriguing storytelling with mixed gameplay experiences. Credit where it's due, the narrative of Revelations stands out as the most entertaining among the C tier entries. Unpredictable twists keep the player engaged, although at times the abundance of these twists leaves one feeling slightly confused, necessitating additional post-game exploration. One very notable drawback is the introduction of the scanner. Initially promising, it turns out to be more of a sore thumb than a useful tool. Scanning enemies, a novel concept, becomes tedious with minimal reward, often producing a magically spawned green herb. The scanner's role in locating hidden items feels equally tedious, compelling players to scan entire rooms for fear of running low on essential supplies. On the technical side, Revelations showcases its roots as a Nintendo DS game, even though it was later ported to other systems including PC. The limited controls, while noticeable, managed to get the job done without major hindrance. However, for me, one aspect that raised eyebrows was the over-sexualization of female characters. Jill, Jessica, and Rachel, integral to the story, sport skin-tight suits with heavy emphasis on cleavage, bordering on distraction. The lack of subtlety in character design can be off-putting, detracting from their roles in the Resident Evil universe. Yet, Revelation shines in its enemy variety. The mutated Rachel, despite the distracting design, adds a cool element to the game's challenge. In the end, Resident Evil Revelations delivers the most compelling story within the C tier. Despite its twists and turns, the overall experience remains just average, with gameplay quirks, over-sexualization concerns, and the scanner mechanic contributing to a mixed reception. Alright, and to kick us off with the B tier, the first entry, and the one to start it all, Resident Evil, the HD Remaster. The Resident Evil HD Remaster revisits the classic 1996 game, maintaining the original storyline. The narrative begins with the Alpha Team investigating the disappearance of Bravo Team in the Arklay Mountains. Players choose to control either Chris Redfield or Jill Valentine. Upon entering the ominous Spencer Mansion, they uncover the Umbrella Corporation's experiments. leading to the creation of bioorganic weapons including zombies and other mutated creatures. As the characters explore the mansion's labyrinth halls, they uncover the truth about the T-virus outbreak and the involvement of Albert Wesker, who was the STARS captain at the time. The story culminates in confrontations with powerful bioweapons like the Tyrant and the revelation of Wesker's betrayal. Resident Evil HD Remaster not only preserves the iconic survival horror atmosphere of the original, but also adds updated visuals and gameplay improvements. This rendition serves as a nostalgic and faithful homage to the roots of the Resident Evil series, contributing to its enduring legacy in the world of survival horror. Thus, we kick off the B tier with the Resident Evil HD Remaster. While an influential pioneer, time has tempered its brilliance. The controls and fixed camera angles, once necessary constraints, now hinder the experience, particularly for PC players. Transitioning between scenes becomes a source of frustration, with character movements occasionally conflicting with the camera angle adjustments, impeding smooth gameplay. On the flip side, the story remains a cornerstone of the classic Resident Evil intrigue. The T-virus, initially turning people into zombies, evolves into a genetically modifying agent, creating creatures like Crimson Heads and formidable hunters. Each encounter introduces an element of fear and excitement, contributing to an unforgettable experience. However, it adheres to the franchise's tradition of leaving many questions unanswered. Characters like Lisa Trevor, while intriguing, receive a linear and somewhat simplistic explanation, missing an opportunity for deeper storytelling. The game's atmosphere and iconic puzzles create an immersive experience, exploring the Spencer Mansion's nooks and crannies to find every little secret. The charming characters, complete with cringeworthy yet endearing one-liners.
Grab my hand!
Barry!
That was a close one. A second late, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
Add to the game's unique appeal. Unexpected moments, like the option to open the main door in the mansion after just escaping a Cerberus encounter and shutting that very same door in the beginning of the game, showcases the game's charm. Despite its flaws, the original Resident Evil set the stage for the franchise's success, establishing survival horror as a genre powerhouse. In retrospect, the first entry in the series is good, but not without limitations. While time may have unveiled imperfections, it's crucial to acknowledge its historical significance and the foundation it laid for the future Resident Evil masterpieces. Respect is due for shaping the survival horror landscape in video games. Next up in the B tier, we have Resident Evil Revelations 2. Resident Evil Revelations 2 follows Claire Redfield and Moira Burton, abducted and imprisoned on a mysterious island by a new villain, the Overseer. The game introduces a unique narrative structure alternating between two timelines, featuring Claire and Moira in the past and Barry Burton with a mysterious girl named Natalia in the present. As Claire and Moira uncover the secrets of the island, they face mutated creatures known as the Afflicted and unravel the involvement of the Overseer in twisted experiments. Barry, searching for his daughter Moira, teams up with Natalia, who possesses unique abilities to sense enemies and hidden items. The story intertwines themes of family, survival, and the consequences of bioterrorism. Revelations 2 bridges the connection between the broader Resident Evil lore, introducing new characters and expanding the series' narrative. And thus, Resident Evil Revelations 2 finds itself nestled in the heart of our B tier. It emerges as the superior half of the Revelations series. While it follows a sequel format, it functions more as a standalone narrative. It also follows an episodic structure, alternating between past and present. It injects a unique rhythm into the gameplay, unraveling the threads of Claire and Moira's past while propelling Barry's urgent search forward. However, the distinct mechanics for each character present a mixed bag. Claire takes the lead in combat, wielding an arsenal of weapons, while Moira unfortunately brandishes only a flashlight and a crowbar. It adds a layer to her character, but practically it renders her near useless in comparison to Claire.
Are you gonna use that? It's more reliable than any person.
While Claire and Moira's segments offer a more engaging gameplay experience, Barry and Natalia's side excels in the storytelling, slowly revealing Natalia's unique powers and her enigmatic presence on the perilous island. The early game tends to be sluggish as information trickles in, but the mid to end game unveils a more compelling narrative. Despite its detached relation to the first Revelations game, Resident Evil Revelations 2 stands out as an improvement. The mostly lackluster bosses are redeemed by the intricate and and intriguing storytelling that gains momentum as you piece together the puzzle. It introduces cool concepts that, while needing more exploration, deliver a satisfying experience, earning its spot in the middle of our B tier.
Holy fuck!
You can't have her, she-Wesker!
And next up at the peak of our B tier, we have Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5 follows series protagonist Chris Redfield as he partners with BSAA agent Sheva Alomar to investigate a bioterrorist threat in Africa. The duo uncovers a plot by Albert Wesker, a former colleague turned antagonist, to unleash a new strain of the progenitor virus to create superhuman soldiers. As they traverse through the African savannah and ancient ruins, Chris and Sheva confront hordes of the infected Majini and face off against bioorganic monstrosities. The game explores themes of morality, betrayal, and the consequences of unchecked scientific ambition, all against a backdrop of a global bioterrorist threat. While criticized for its departure from the series' survival horror roots towards a more action-oriented gameplay style, Resident Evil 5 is a significant chapter in the series' lore, deepening the narrative surrounding key characters and organizations like the Umbrella Corporation and Tricell. And thus, Resident Evil 5 claims the top spot in our B tier. Positioned as one of the more action-oriented in the series, it establishes a solid identity in terms of player experience. The revelation of Wesker's manipulation, particularly involving Jill, adds depth to the storyline. However, gameplay can feel repetitive, often caught in a cycle of battling numerous enemies with minimal development. Puzzles, a hallmark of classic Resident Evil, take a back seat, leading to occasional monotony. Sheva's introduction and the inclusion of co-op, while a commendable addition, exposes shortcomings when played solo due to the occasional frustrating AI. As a precursor to Resident Evil 4, the game deviates from a perfected formula of its predecessor, particularly in the weapon system. The lack of a charismatic shopkeeper and a simplified upgrading system diminish the charm present in Resident Evil 4. Despite these gameplay drawbacks, the story stands out, especially in exploring the dynamic between Chris and Wesker. Wesker's role as the iconic antagonist shines through, while Chris's character development adds depth. Cutscenes enhance the immersive experience, with memorable moments such as the Wesker flashback with Oswell E. Spencer. Boss fights, though mixed in their appeal, contribute to the game's highs and lows. The Wesker showdown, including Chris's infamous boulder punch, become a lasting memory. However, encounters relying heavily on minigun-type weapons feel somewhat stale. Resident Evil 5 struggles with repetitive gameplay and solo AI frustrations. Co-op enhances the experience, but I feel shouldn't be a requirement. The captivating narrative driven by Wesker's presence makes the game a worthwhile addition to the series. It serves as a reminder that in Resident Evil, the story often takes precedence, creating an adventure that remains compelling.
Ready, partner?
Locked and loaded.
Suck on this, Wesker.
Your time's up, you son of a bitch.
Next up, for our first entry in the A tier, we have the Resident Evil 3 Remake. The Resident Evil 3 Remake revisits the events of the original Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, following protagonist Jill Valentine as she attempts to escape Raccoon City amidst a T-virus outbreak. Pursued relentlessly by the bioorganic weapon Nemesis, created by the Umbrella Corporation, Jill navigates the city's infested streets while uncovering the truth behind the outbreak. Along the way, Jill encounters fellow survivors like Carlos Oliveira and faces off against hordes of zombies and mutated creatures. The game delves into chaos and desperation of Raccoon City's final hours, showcasing the city's descent into darkness and the lengths to which Umbrella will go to cover up its involvement. And thus, Resident Evil 3 Remake, which secures its spot at the first and lowest entry in our A tier, presenting an action-packed journey with stunning visuals and the iconic Nemesis as the relentless antagonist. Playing as Jill Valentine, a familiar face of the RE series, the game wastes no time throwing you into the chaos with Nemesis in relentless pursuit after Jill's apartment explodes after only minutes of entering the game. Despite being one of the shorter games in the series, its brevity didn't diminish its impact for me. Having not played the original, while acknowledging the concerns of fans who miss certain elements from the original, I found the game's compact and intense narrative to be engaging throughout. The enemy variety, though not extensive, adheres to the grotesque and unique standards of the RE series. The cast cast, albeit small, offers decent character dynamics. Jill takes the spotlight, with Carlos providing an enjoyable perspective during the hospital segment. The part where you defend the hospital from waves of zombies stands out as particularly fun and a memorable sequence. However, the character Nicola's predictability as the obvious villain somewhat detracts from the overall cast. Boss fights, although all of them being against Nemesis, deliver an enjoyable challenge. Each encounter with Nemesis escalates in intensity as he evolves into increasingly grotesque forms. One of the final showdowns, complete with a giant laser beam, provides a satisfying climax, contributing to a gratifying conclusion. While the game is not flawless and could have benefited from more development time, leading to cut content from the original, it still offers a short and thrilling Resident Evil experience. Nonetheless, the game's brevity, combined with its intense action and satisfying boss battles, earns it a solid place at the bottom of our A tier.
Next time, take the fucking hit!
Next up in the A tier, we have none other than Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 marks a significant departure from the series' traditional formula, introducing players to a new protagonist, Ethan Winters, as he searches for his missing wife, Mia, in rural Louisiana. The game adopts a first-person perspective, a first for the series, immersing players in the terrifying atmosphere of the Baker family's dilapidated plantation. As Ethan explores the property, he encounters grotesque mutations, traps, and puzzles, all orchestrated by the Bakers, who have been infected by a new strain of the mold-like virus known as the Molded. Throughout the game, Ethan unravels the mystery behind the Baker's family transformation and their connection to the sinister Umbrella Corporation, which has been conducting experiments with the Molded as part of its bioweapons program. And thus, Resident Evil 7, the revitalizing force that breathed new life into the series, earns its place at the top of our A tier. Breaking away from the action-oriented debacle of RE6, this installment returns to the roots of survival horror, delivering an eerie and immersive experience. The narrative introduces us to Ethan, a somewhat perplexing character on a quest to uncover the truth behind the mysterious disappearance of his girlfriend Mia. The Baker Ranch, a nightmarish landscape of bone structures and unsettling imagery, sets the stage for a chilling exploration. The inclusion of the VHS tapes cleverly adds depth to the story, creating a sense of impending dread. The Baker family, with Jack, the imposing father, Marguerite, the bone-chilling mother, and Lucas, the unhinged son, forms a terrifying ensemble, as well as the mysterious old woman, later revealed as Evelyn's true form, adds an unexpected twist. Despite these compelling characters, Ethan's occasional lack of intelligence can be frustrating, and the decision to keep his face hidden remains an odd choice. The Baker property offers bone-chilling enemies, memorable puzzles, and a return to the classic Resident Evil style. Each family member's area, along with their transformations, adds to a fitting and frightening dynamic. The introduction of the Molded and Infected, controlled by Evelyn, contributes to the overall horror. As the narrative progresses, the choice between Mia and Zoe, though impactful emotionally, ultimately leads to a similar outcome, diminishing the illusion of choice. Transitioning to the ship, the game experiences a decline, with backtracking and a less engaging atmosphere compared to the Baker property. The story, however, remains intriguing, uncovering Mia's connection to Evelyn and her role in creating the enigmatic figure. The salt mines especially fall short of the Baker residents' iconic status, leaving players yearning for more depth. Despite the dwindling atmosphere in the later stages, the narrative maintains its grip, leading to a climactic showdown against Evelyn. The final boss fight might be lacking, but the unexpected appearance of Chris Redfield adds a surprising twist, setting the stage for future installments. Resident Evil 7's stellar beginning, marked by compelling story and atmospheric horror, elevates it to the higher tier. While subsequent areas may not match the intensity of the Baker property, the game's contribution to revitalizing the franchise cannot be overlooked. Thus, I place it at the top of our A tier. And with that, we move on to the S tier. And our first entry on that list is the original Resident Evil 4. The original Resident Evil 4 follows series protagonist Leon S. Kennedy as he embarks on a mission to rescue the president's daughter, Ashley Graham, who has been kidnapped by a mysterious cult in rural Europe. Resident Evil 4 stands as an undisputed icon, earning its place in the prestigious S tier. Released in 2005, this game marked a paradigm shift in the series, introducing a groundbreaking over-the-shoulder perspective with real-time aiming, a leap that has left a lasting impact on the survival horror genre. Playing as as the indomitable Leon S. Kennedy, now working under the president's banner to rescue his kidnapped daughter Ashley. The game opens with an intense and unforgettable sequence in the Ganado village. The restless wave of enemies and the relentless chainsaw-wielding lunatic set the stage for a gripping and fear-inducing narrative. Resident Evil 4 excels in creating memorable areas to explore, each unraveling the mysteries of the remote village and progressing towards saving Ashley. The game's atmosphere is further heightened by the introduction of formidable enemies, none more terrifying than the Regenerator, a true pinnacle of Resident Evil horror. Boss battles in RE4 are a spectacle of grotesque transformations, each boss presenting unique challenges and adding layers to the overarching narrative. The game seamlessly blends fear and humor, with Leon's classic one-liners becoming iconic and still celebrated to this day in the gaming community.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
This entry pioneers the survival horror genre once again, setting a standard that subsequent games aim to emulate. The story masterfully balances intrigue and revelation, slowly uncovering the mysteries surrounding the enigmatic Saddler, the orchestrator of the village's madness. The supporting cast adds depth to the narrative, with characters like Luis, Hunnigan, and Ada Wong, with Ada and Luis providing compelling interactions and secretive motives. Ada's allegiance twist, aligning herself with Albert Wesker, serves as a captivating plot point. And of course, who could forget the enigmatic merchant, being one of the most iconic merchants to date, injects additional charm into the game, offering a unique shopping experience for the players. Ashley, though occasionally a source of frustration due to AI limitations, is one of the few downsides in this otherwise flawless game. Resident Evil 4 manages to infuse a bit more action into its gameplay without sacrificing the essence of survival horror. This delicate balance sets it apart, especially when compared to the more action-oriented series like RE5 and RE6. Taking into account the groundbreaking changes it introduced for the time of its release and enduring popularity, Resident Evil 4 rightfully claims its spot in the S tier. It remains a near-flawless survival horror experience, an embodiment of excellence that has earned the utmost respect from fans and stands as a testament to the golden age it ushered for the genre. And for that, the original Resident Evil 4 earns its spot at the beginning of our S tier. Next up, for the top of our S tier, we have Resident Evil Village. There are three major reasons I put Resident Evil Village at the top of the S tier.
Looking for Rose? Man blood.
I'll take your entire stock!
I'm sorry I had to. My brain chemistry was altered at a young age.
You're gonna do what I want you to. Mix it up here in my little bowl.
Now, without further ado, let's get into the actual reasons. Resident Evil Village continues the story of Ethan Winters, introduced in Resident Evil 7, as he searches for his kidnapped daughter, Rose, in a mysterious village located in Eastern Europe. As Ethan navigates the treacherous village and its surrounding environments, he encounters various horrors, from lichens to vampiric creatures, all serving the interests of Mother Miranda and her twisted experiments. Along the way, Ethan uncovers dark secrets about the village, its inhabitants, and its own past, leading to a confrontation with the truth behind Rose's abduction and the sinister forces at play. Resident Evil Village ascends to the top of our S tier, rightfully claiming its place. This installment surpasses its predecessor, RE7, in every conceivable way, offering a refined and immersive experience that encapsulates the essence of survival horror. The narrative weaves seamlessly from the aftermath of RE7, with Ethan now leading a seemingly content life with his wife Mia and their newborn daughter Rose. However, tragedy strikes abruptly as Chris Redfield intervenes, setting the stage for a captivating journey. The enigmatic Mother Miranda, manipulating her four children, or lords, adds a layer of complexity to the story, and her shape-shifting abilities provide a subtle yet masterful twist throughout. The introduction of Rose as a crucial element in the narrative, possessing a unique connection to Evelyn from RE7, is a stroke of storytelling brilliance. The shocking revelation that the Mia we knew was a fabricated image by Mother Miranda adds depth to the plot, emphasizing the game's penchant for unpredictable storytelling. The four lords, each with distinct personalities and horrifying transformations, contribute significantly to the game's lore and gameplay. The introduction scene, orchestrated by Heisenberg, captured the impending challenges subtly. It showcases the game's ability to build tension and excitement simultaneously. Resident Evil Village rectifies the spatial limitations of its predecessor, offering 6 diverse, intricately designed areas, from the iconic Dimitrescu castle to the central village hub. Each location introduces new enemies, keeping the players constantly engaged. The village itself evolves dynamically as you progress through the lords, providing a fresh and dynamic exploration experience. Enemy design reaches new heights, introducing grotesque foes with rich lore, injecting vitality into each encounter. Boss fights, particularly those against the lords, are masterfully crafted, delivering memorable and intense moments that contribute to the game's iconic status. The overarching story, while providing enough information to maintain interest, skillfully ties back to the origins of the Umbrella Corporation. The revelation of Miranda's connection to Oswald E. Spencer adds a layer of intrigue, creating a bridge between Village and the broader Resident Evil universe. Gameplay improvements include a revamped shopkeeper and upgrade system, enhancing the overall experience. However, the slight drawback comes from Ethan Winter's occasional lack of intelligence, yet the narrative manages to turn this into a compelling plot point. The revelation that Ethan himself is a molded adds a unique twist, explaining his remarkable healing abilities. A brief yet enjoyable segment playing as Chris Redfield adds variety to the gameplay and an exciting experience. In the end, Resident Evil Village delivers an almost flawless experience, brimming with iconic moments, formidable enemies, and a captivating narrative. Despite some lingering mysteries surrounding Ethan's character, this entry's exceptional qualities solidify its place at the esteemed S tier.
My daughter! My Eva!
And now, we reach the peak of our tier list, the S+ tier. These games, in my eyes, are absolutely flawless, and I enjoyed every second of playing them. And without further ado, the first entry in the S+ tier, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil 2 Remake retells the story of the original Resident Evil 2, following rookie police officer Leon S. Kennedy on his first day at the RCPD, and college student Claire Redfield as they navigate the zombie-infested streets of Raccoon City. The game maintains the dual narrative structure, allowing players to experience the events of both characters from both perspectives. And with that, the Resident Evil 2 Remake secures its well-deserved place at the S+ tier, standing as a shining example of a remake that not only pays homage to the original, but elevates the experience to unparalleled heights. Released in 2019, it brought the 1998 classic into the modern era, with the complete graphical and gameplay overhaul, showcasing the Raccoon City incident in all its glory. This game boasts 2 intertwined campaigns, each featuring a unique perspective and strong plot points. Playing as Leon, the rookie cop running late for his first day, or Claire searching for her brother Chris, players embark on a journey through the Raccoon City Police Department and beyond. The campaigns, while sharing some areas, manage to switch up gameplay and puzzles, creating a perfect blend of familiarity and novelty. The RPD station, a pivotal location in the game, is masterfully recreated, breathing life into an environment that was once pixelated in the original. Puzzles are seamlessly integrated into the narrative, enhancing the overall experience and challenging players without being overwhelming. There are plentiful, iconic moments abound in the Resident Evil 2 Remake, from the heart-pounding encounter with the T-00 Tyrant, the relentless Stalker, to the most memorable boss battles against the mutated William Birkin. The remake excels in delivering fear and tension, keeping the players on the edge of their seats. Both campaigns introduce distinct side characters, adding depth to the narrative. Leon encounters Ada Wong, a mysterious woman with her own motives, while Claire becomes a protector to Sherry Birkin, the daughter of the scientist tied to the Umbrella Corporation. These characters contribute to the game's richness, and the segments where players get to control Ada and Sherry offered varied gameplay experiences. Enemy variety, while it may not be extensive, it introduces iconic creatures like the Licker that leave a lasting impression. The game strikes a perfect balance, maintaining the essence of the Resident Evil title, while introducing modern elements that enhance the overall experience. The remake flawlessly captures the essence of the original game, while catering to a new generation of players. It manages to both be a nostalgic trip for fans of the original and an entirely entirely fresh experience. From tense encounters with the T-00 to the emotionally charged moments with the supporting characters, Resident Evil 2 Remake proves itself as a perfect RE experience, earning its place in the esteemed S+ tier. As we ascended the ranks of gaming greatness, there's one title that stands head and shoulders above the rest, reigning supreme as the undisputed champion of the Tierspective: Resident Evil 4 Remake. Resident Evil 4 Remake stands at the pinnacle of the S+ tier, a shining example of how to reimagine a classic. Building upon the already stellar foundation of the original, this remake takes everything that made the original great and elevates it to new heights, much like Resident Evil 2 Remake. The result is a masterfully crafted experience that captures the essence of the series while offering a fresh, modern take. Much like the other remakes, Resident Evil 4 received a complete graphical overhaul and gameplay updates. However, what sets it apart is how it meticulously refines an already outstanding story, fitting seamlessly into the Resident Evil universe. The enhanced graphics breathe new life into every aspect of the game, making it a treat for both longtime fans and newcomers. The remake takes the incredible source material and enriches it with expanded lore. Even characters like Luis, who had limited lore in the original, are given deeper backgrounds, adding layers to the Resident Evil universe. The flawless storytelling keeps players engaged from start to finish, offering a captivating narrative that feels both familiar yet entirely fresh. The remake also excels in delivering captivating boss fights and introducing terrifying enemies. Each boss, with expanded lore and more horrifying transformations, adds depth to the overall experience. The variety of enemies, both from the original and new additions, keeps the gameplay engaging, providing a perfect balance of nostalgia and innovation. Every area for exploration is meticulously designed, staying true to the original while injecting new life and detail. The remake manages to preserve the charm of the original while presenting an extravagant and immersive environment. The atmosphere is further enriched, creating an experience that captivates players throughout their journey. Even minor details are handled with care, addressing some of the original shortcomings. The reimagined AI for Ashley, despite the fireball section, is practically flawless, significantly improving the overall experience. Original fans will find joy in the meticulously crafted moments that echo the past but are tweaked just enough to offer a fresh perspective. The stakes have never felt higher, delivering nerve-wracking and exciting gameplay. The familiarity of the story is expertly balanced with tweaks to certain sections, providing surprises for even die-hard fans. Moments like encountering the Regenerators showcase the developer's commitment to preserving the fear-inducing nature of the original. Resident Evil 4 Remake is a testament to the dedication and care poured into the project. It surpassed expectations, delivering an experience that is not only a love letter to fans, but also a definitive entry in the Resident Evil series. The highest spot in the tier list is well deserved for this exceptional remake that honors its roots while boldly stepping into the future. And thus, I give the Resident Evil 4 Remake the top spot of my tier list.
To become one with us. You require absolution.
From the eerie halls of the Spencer Mansion to the post-apocalyptic landscapes, Resident Evil is one of my all-time favorite video game series, resonating with both veterans and newcomers alike. This video, inspired by my passion for the franchise, explores its evolution from redefining zombie concepts to delivering consistently enjoyable experiences, most of the time.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it.
At the end of the day, I wanted to celebrate the impact and joy that Resident Evil has brought to the gaming world, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments. Thank you all for joining me on this survival horror journey. Don't forget to like the video and share it with your fellow Resident Evil enthusiasts, and make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more gaming greatness. I also stream a variety of games on Twitch almost every day, so if you want to come by and say hi, the link to that will be in my description. Until next time, may your inventory be stocked and your aim be true. This is SoundCloud Sad Boy, signing off. Peace!